best day. Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name's Caitlin, but as an artist, I'm known as Feral. In this video, I'm going to be working on my seemingly never finished wolf girl painting. She's currently called Wolf Girl. It's a working title because it's a painting of a wolf and of a girl. Pretty creative, right? And while I work on that, I'm going to be sharing some of the acrylic paints that I use and love. I'm also going to be starting a new painting, and I'm going to be doing an underpainting layer, which I never really do with my paintings as an intuitive artist. But my intuition was telling me to underpaint, so that's what I did. I'll also be using my Golden Open Acrylics, which I rarely ever use. Haven't used them much since I first got them like a year ago. So it's the first time me properly trying them out, and spoiler alert, I love them so much. I'm also going to be working on upping my content game, and I'll be asking you guys for a little bit of help and advice. So let's get into it, shall we? So, this is Wolf Girl. If you haven't met before, check out my last video where I work on her and show some of her progress on how she got here. In that video, I used my airbrush, that I'm a complete noob at, by the way, and now I'm painting details back in. I especially love how that soft airbrush effect looks with fur painted over the top. The texture is so interesting to me, and I really want to experiment with it again on more pieces. Now, while I keep working on her and my melty flower eyeball girl, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, you're going to find out in a few minutes. I thought I would share with you a bit about what acrylic paints I use and what brands I've grown to love. So I own and have used a lot of different brands because I've collected paint over many years. I'd buy acrylic paints before I even started really painting with acrylics a lot. What can I say? I love a sale and I love art supplies. I didn't know what brands I liked back then, but now I have a few faves. I'll always love trying new brands, but it's also nice to have tried and true favorites that you know won't disappoint. Every time I use up an old paint I have in my collection, I'm excited to refill the color in one of these brands. Matisse, especially the Flow range, because I usually work in thinner layers, but the structure is nice too. They also make this colored gesso, which is so fun. Liquitex, especially their heavy body paint, but I do have a couple of their gouaches, which I do use in my acrylic paintings from time to time. So the Liquitex heavy body acrylic has a bit of a thick, glossy, almost plasticky feel, which may not be your cup of tea, but their colors are gorgeous. Liquitex makes one of my most used colors ever, muted grey, and I love it so much in both this range and their acrylic inks. Amsterdam acrylics are a great budget-friendly option, and I love that they come in these big 500ml sizes along with smaller tubes. Now keep watching, as later on in the video I discuss the final brand, one which I haven't heard anyone else on YouTube talk about. It's an underrated and reasonably priced gem that I really think you should try.
I had a dream about Kevin Gates last night, so obviously I've got to listen to him today. So I'm trying to take more time and put more effort into making reels and short form videos that I'll probably post here on YouTube Shorts as well, but that have more of like a storytelling element to them. Because I really want to like let people get to know me a bit more as an artist. I really like when other artists do that. It makes me feel connected to them, or other just people in general. So I think everyone has a story that's super unique, and I really want to start telling mine. But the reason why I guess I haven't been is because it takes a lot of effort. This type of content, you know, like you've sort of got to plan it out. It's not just, you know, a few short little clips while I'm painting here and there or whatever. Like I just wrote a little script for the video that I want to do, and I sort of wrote down what shots I want to take. So now I'm just sort of tidying up my studio, because obviously it's going to be filmed in here. And yeah, so I want my studio to look cute, and I want to film the right shots for this video, and then I'm going to edit it. And stuff like this, people probably just don't realize. Like, I'm sure a lot of you guys watching, sorry, I'm going to keep tidying while I talk. People that don't make content, like, they just wouldn't realize how much actually goes into it. So this is probably going to take me to film and to edit a couple hours, but it's going to turn into, you know, a 30-second video. I just wanted to talk to you while I tidied, even though I can't do two things at once apparently. Just because I'm starting to reframe how I think about making content. Like, it's a lot of work, and sometimes that gets me down because I just want to be painting and not thinking about making content. But it's also really exciting to think that I have this opportunity to share these intimate parts of myself with the world and to inspire other people like I've been inspired. So it's kind of just adding back to this pool of inspiration. I think that that's like a gift, and I really want to make making content into a creative pursuit in itself, because I think that's how I will stay interested in it. When it's not just boring and routine. I don't know, trying new things with it and trying to make it an extension of my art practice and my creativity in and of itself.
So I thought I'd show you guys the reel and hopefully get a little bit of advice from you guys before I post it to Instagram. So have a little bit of a watch and then hear me out on what I'm thinking about it.
This past weekend, I found an old photo of me buried in a box at my mum's house. It got me thinking about a question that I'm asked a lot. So, when did you start doing art? Now, my usual answer to this is, kind of my whole life. Now, while this answer is true, it doesn't exactly tell you much. You wouldn't know that I kept cheap little notebooks on my desk in primary school, and I would rush to finish my work so that I could draw these tiny little ant people and their intricate little spaceships. You wouldn't know that that happy, bright little girl grew up through her teen years and early adulthood, filling sketchbook after sketchbook when she was anxious, depressed, and suffering debilitating derealization that meant she was constantly on the verge of a panic attack whenever she left the house. You wouldn't know that I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for art. That if I wasn't physically dead, I'd be emotionally and spiritually dead without it. That without art, the darkness would have won. That art was and is magic to me. It transmutes my shadow, my fear and pain into something beautiful. So the next time I'm asked, so when did you start doing art? Maybe I'll answer, I started doing art when my soul couldn't bear the heaviness of living in this world. But I'll probably just say,
So it's currently about 1 minute 23 seconds long, which is just under the maximum length for a reel. but I think maybe I should edit it down a bit more, especially because I want to post it here on Shorts, but it's currently too long for that. Like, maybe it doesn't really need the bit about me in primary school. I thought it was good to have like a little bit of a stepping stone of my history. So there's that photo of like little toddler me, and then I mention primary school me, and then I talk about high school and early adult me. But I think that it maybe ruins the flow of the video and makes it too long to keep people's attention on social media. I think the point of the video is to share that art has helped me through my life in really dark times, and that's why I've stuck with it. I don't know. I also know that the video is like a little bit cheesy in spots, like the black and white shot of me. But I also think that maybe like cheesy isn't so bad. Like, that's not necessarily a bad thing. And I don't want to overthink it and take too long to edit it all again when it's good and I should just post it. I don't know if I'm overthinking, you know? It's already taken me a few hours to make, like to film, to write the little script, to edit. And sometimes, you know, good enough is better than wasting your time trying to make something perfect when it's already good, you know? But I also don't mind putting in a little bit more effort if it needs it, and if it does need little changes to make the message come across the way that I want it to. Anyway, if you have any advice for me about it, or if you think it's good as is, please let me know. Sometimes I need a second set of eyes and ears. Enough. And I trust you guys enough to be vulnerable and share this with you and ask for help from you guys. And I'm sure that a lot of you have a very good eye and will be able to give me some good advice.
PJs, rainy day, about to paint, best day, best day. So, did I say in the last video that I was going to do the oil layer on this guy and also on this guy? I did. But look, we've changed plans. And I would say that this doesn't happen much, but I think a Caitlin plan is a changed plan. So I'm staying true to myself. And I think I'm going to wait to do the final layer on these paintings with oil, the oil layer. Why am I bending down? I'm going to wait to do that final layer when I've got more paintings done. So this one, for example, very nearly finished, and I will do an oil layer on this one. Hello! What are you doing? What are you up to? Why are you wagging that tail? Suspicious. So basically, I'm going to wait until I've finished a few more paintings. I always say this though and I keep putting off finishing them. But it's because like right now, I tend to paint how I feel. Like where my feelings are taking me. And I actually want to work on this guy. What? Are you gonna knock something over? Are you gonna knock something over and then leave? That cute face is saying yeah. He's knocked over the tripod many a time. He's usually not allowed in here, but I'm too soft. So I'm just being careful. Anyway, I want to start this painting, which, what? Max, shoo, outside, good boy, good boy. I want to start this piece, which, like I want to start putting in the first layer on this piece, which I started a couple of videos ago. If you haven't watched that video, I also did the sketch for this painting, this one back here, and a couple others, and one that I've already started. But my feeling today is that A, it's Saturday, B, it's rainy, C, I've been in bed watching The Boys till now, 3:30 p.m. and I just want to do what I want. And what I want is to bust into my Golden Open Acrylics, which I really don't use all that much, mainly because I don't have a very big colour range. I've only got, was that a fart? Was that a fart? Is that more farts coming out of your butt right now? You are going to be shamed on the internet, sir. Shamed. You can't just come in here and crop dust me. Oh my god. Let's get started with this. I'm very excited. Very, very excited. I'm hoping by making this underpainting, I'm going to be able to sort out a lot of the details in monochrome first. And it's not something I normally do, but I think it could be extremely fun. And I want to see if I like that kind of process. So let's go, shall we?
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I love these paints. Okay, so I've actually had my little selection of open acrylics for about a year now, but I haven't really used them much. I'm trying to think of another piece I've used them on. I know I definitely have, because it's not the first time I've tried them.
Oh, you're cute. What are you doing?
But it's not coming to my mind right now. Anyway, I think the reason why I haven't picked them up much is because I bought a very limited colour selection because I wasn't sure if I was going to like them. And then on top of that, I bought mostly colours I didn't really use much in my own paintings. I think my logic was that I wasn't just buying colours that I already had, I was buying ones that would hopefully fill some gaps in my paint collection. So even if I didn't really like the formula, it wouldn't be a total waste of money. In hindsight, I see the logic, but I also wish that I bought maybe some different colours or just more. Especially now because I've given them a proper workout on this piece and I am dying to buy more. So a little about the open acrylics if you haven't heard of them yet. They're a slow drying acrylic paint, kind of like a hybrid between acrylic and oil paint. They dry way slower than regular acrylics, so you get to enjoy a technique that you rarely get with acrylics. Blending. You have no idea the joy I felt in painting this tiny face and being able to blend with acrylics. Yes, I own and use slow drying medium from various brands, but it's not the same. This paint is buttery, smooth, and blends so much better. It's something you really have to try for yourself. The only thing I'll say is that I notice that I have to use a lot more paint than I normally do. However, I think this is more of a me thing because my usual style involves a lot more water and thinner washes of paint. So I can usually get away with using less paint on my palette. Now you can, and I still did this with this paint, however, if you're using it as intended, so you can mimic the experience and look of oil paint, you do need to paint thicker, otherwise the paint will still dry quite fast. Now, I don't mean thick, just thick in terms of my own process, which is actually probably just applying the regular amount of paint. Painting with Golden Open Acrylics has really inspired me to experiment with painting with thicker paint in general. I think I have a bit of a scarcity mindset when it comes to the amount of paint I use. And also, I don't tend to squeeze out as much at a time because normal acrylics dry so fast on the palette. But these paints have inspired me to try to overcome this habit and apply colour more richly. Overall, I just can't wait to get more hands on these paints. I am going to have my eyes peeled for a bit of a sale because they're a little pricey, but if one doesn't come up soon, I think I'm just going to have to bite the bullet and buy them full price because they are amazing. Now, I mentioned earlier that I was going to tell you about a criminally underrated brand of acrylic paint that you've probably never heard of. And that is ARA Acrylics. Or ARA? No, I think it's ARA. Yeah, when I looked it up, ARA stood for something. I should probably have written that down. But anyway, it's ARA Acrylics. Apparently they're made in the Netherlands at the same factory as Old Holland paints. And I've heard really good things about the quality of their oil paints. I think they're quite good quality. So that was an interesting thing to know. I currently only own 2 colours from them, but I love them. They're metallic colours, and the metallic effect is so pretty, but it's the consistency of the paint that has me really intrigued. They have this incredibly smooth, buttery feeling, and I'm really interested to see if the regular paint colours have that same feeling too. They also have a really good colour selection. They have a lot of colours and some really great fluorescent and metallic shades. I also really like their squeeze bottle design. So ARA Acrylics, if you see them, give them a try. I don't think you'll be disappointed. They have a really dreamy brush feel. That brush feel, by the way, I'm coining that term. You know, like mouth feel? Have you ever heard that term? I thought it was the grossest term when I first heard it, but to be honest, it does kind of describe things well. So I'm using brush feel. I'm making that a thing. So ARA Acrylics, really dreamy brush feel. And I've never heard anyone on YouTube talk about them, but I hope more people discover them, so hence why I am spilling the beans. The paint beans. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. Thank you to everyone who's been subscribing lately and leaving comments on my videos. It is absolutely the best. It's giving me so much motivation and I love talking to all of you. It's very, very fun. And just seeing people enjoy my videos, it's just giving me so much fuel to keep making more. Also, they're quite fun to make. I'm really getting into making them. I feel like I'm like hitting my flow with making videos. Keep your eyes peeled for my next video, which will probably be out in less than a week if my recent upload schedule is anything to go by. I'll see you guys in the next video for a lot more painting. Okay, bye. Love you. Bye. Bye, 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 bye.